Well, there was actually some uncertainty there. The conversation I had with him and Jim Crockett in Philadelphia at the Civic Center, remember that conversation vividly, even right now, thinking back on it. Just come back from Japan, a tour in Japan. You know, it took him some convincing of me that Magnum really had an accident. You know, wrestling's a work, right? I'm like, yeah, whatever. You guys are working me, you know? And they're like, no, like, you know, at some point I'm like, okay, these guys are like serious. I'm like, so you're serious? Like how bad, you know? No, he broke his neck. Like, he's done. He probably be paralyzed from, you know, neck down for the rest of his life. I'm like, wow. So that kind of took a minute to sink in first, if you kind of picture that. And then at some point, when that kind of settled, I guess, a little bit, you go, well, here's the deal. You know, it leaves a void, yada, yada, and we've got an idea. Like, okay. And so they laid it out there, and they really said, they go, you know, this has never been done before. Honestly, we're really not even sure it will work. We have a pretty good idea. We think it will. You know, it was kind of that approach. And, you know, here it is. They kind of laid it in, you know, like, do you have any initial thoughts? You know, in my head, I'm like, man, I mean, you know, still really, honestly, you know what? I'm still at that point. I'm only about 2.5 years in the business, if that. Just, you know, right, just barely, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I'm still learning. And so I'm like, you know, I guess. I mean, I don't know, like, well, you know, take a day or two to think about it or whatever, and, you know, we'll circle back around, we'll talk again. So they left the decision up to me as to whether or not I wanted to do it. And I just thought it through, and I thought, well, you know, Jim Crockett and his family have been in this business a long time. Dusty's been in this business for quite a while, has a lot of experience. You know, if they think it'll work, then, you know, what the heck? We might as well give it a shot. So there you go.
And you had some big shoes to fill, because at this point, obviously, you're being the guy that's basically, you know, you're replacing Magnum, but you are also getting a big push up the card. And obviously, you face Flair at Starrcade '86 for the NWA title, but the two Starrcades before that, Dusty versus Flair in '84, Dusty versus Flair in '85. So you have some big shoes to fill as far as being Flair's opponent. Did any of that ever cross your mind? You know, thinking you're not only replacing Magnum, but you're filling the shoes of Dusty, so to speak, as well as the next big star.
Well, it created a lot of animosity, which is not uncommon. Which was not uncommon. I don't know how it is in today's world, but I'm certain there's still people. I would imagine guys still kind of jockey for positions, but it created quite a bit of animosity in the sense that, still to this day, many people say it's the best kept secret in wrestling. I mean, especially at least in that era, you know, maybe prior to that, I suppose, I don't know, but for sure that era, couldn't do it now with the internet and the exposure and all that, because nobody knew. No, there's only, count them on one hand the number of people that knew I was going to be his quote mystery partner that night in Charlotte, in the Charlotte Coliseum, and so everyone kind of in their mind is like, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Oh, maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. They just hadn't told me yet, you know. So the night I walked in, and then at some point it finally kind of dawned on everybody while I was in that dressing room that I was the mystery guy. That created you know, kind of some animosity, not only that night, but even in the days and weeks time to follow. You know, I mean, it's kind of human nature, right? You know, the whole, as far as jealousy, that sort of thing. And so I had to kind of overcome that, really kind of thinking more about that in one sense than even how big the opportunity was. You know, it was like me, guys, it was like me breaking into wrestling. I mean, to step into a wrestling office with no experience, no training, no background, and the next night being in a ring on television, wrestling on television when I never even hit a ring roll, I overcame that hurdle. So this one wasn't, I'd say in a sense, as big a hurdle to overcome, or maybe just kind of in the moment. I didn't, maybe I knew it was a big opportunity, but maybe I wasn't thinking of it that way. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? I hope.
Yep, absolutely. So you think being with Dusty, obviously, hey, he was super over. Those were his towns, if you will. Charlotte's over huge, Baltimore, all those places he was over so big. You think it helped your career getting that rub from Dusty, being just associated with him, and then being his super power partner, and really getting that big rub from Big Dust?
Oh, with no question. Hey, guys, you're riding around with the Booker. And the Booker's driving. You're not even driving him. He's driving you. just let that sink in for a minute. Now, you understand what I talk about animosity among the boys, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so without question, there's an elevated level of, you might say a status there. The fact that you're riding around with the Booker, in one sense, you got the Booker's ear, so to speak, right? But I will say, for the record, I hope, I think other guys would probably say, that wasn't a pride thing for me. I don't believe it. In other words, I didn't take advantage of that like perhaps some maybe could, or maybe some would, or maybe some have in the past. I feel a real level of respect with Dusty, because I didn't, in one sense, didn't treat him any different. Even though I know he was the Booker, I had respect for him, but I wasn't, the best phrase I'll use is, I also wasn't brown-nosing him either. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I still respected him. I wanted him to respect me. And so, and I say that to say, some of those times we meet for the towns, and this wasn't intentional, just somehow it would work out. I might be 10, 15 minutes late to the meeting, and where some, would maybe get rattled over that. Oh my gosh, I'm making the Booker wait. And I'm like, hey, dude, sorry, I'm late. Let's go, let's roll. But and so there's no question though that being with him every day, day to day, for a couple of years didn't again help to catapult my career even that much further, and be able to learn and glean from him. And him use me in different angles or different ways, because he saw my desire to work hard and my willingness to work and excel at my craft.